Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ayana. For those of you who do not know me, thank you so much for tuning in. This video today is going to be about just some tips about pop-up shops that I've learned. So I'm already 2 pop-up shops in. I know that may not seem like a lot, but you know, just by doing those 2 pop-up shops, I have learned quite a few things that I would like to share with y'all, and y'all have asked. And I'm going to go through and answer some of the questions that was underneath that video that I posted about my first pop-up shop. Okay, so first thing first, let's start with what you need to accomplish a pop-up shop, right? Of course, you're going to need inventory. Now, the most common question was, how much inventory should you start with? What's a good number? And I know that somebody was saying that they're trying to make 150 waist beads. You know, y'all were just curious how much you have to start with. Now, I don't think that you necessarily have to start with a specific number. I would just say to make sure that if you are using a stand, and I'll show y'all the stand that I use, and I'll tell y'all, I'll put the link below where to get it. But if you are using a stand, I would just say to make sure that your stand is full. It doesn't necessarily have to have 150, 200, 300 waist beads on there. The stand can be full with about 50 waist beads. It just depends on how big your stand is. If you're doing the stands that I do have about 200 waist beads on a stand, but you don't need that much, I promise. You just want to make sure that it's full, because the fuller look, the more appealing it is, right? The fuller it is, the more appealing it will look to your customers. And you know, when waist beads are on a stand like this, they look so much better when it's a lot. You don't necessarily have to use a stand, y'all. You can lay your waist beads across your table and it'll still appear nice. But you don't necessarily have to start with a certain amount. You just need to start, okay? So the first pop-up shop that I did, right, I had mine on a stand. I'm not sure exactly how many waist beads I brought, but I'm just gonna say roughly about 70 waist beads. It wasn't a lot, but this stand was full. And the way I did it was, my stand is layered. So it has a bottom rack and then a top rack. I did all of my waist beads at the bottom rack for $15, all my waist beads at the top rack for $20. And it sold pretty good. I think I made about maybe like $500, $600 that day in that pop-up shop. So it wasn't bad, right? But your prices can be different. So as you can see, if you are familiar with my website, that my prices are different in my pop-up shop. I like to give a nice discount, just because it's a pop-up shop. You know, you want people to spend money. You don't want them to be like, if the prices are too high, they're going to be like, oh, you know, I'll come back, or I'm gonna wait. So I did receive a lot of that the first time, my first pop-up shop. But the second pop-up shop, I thought, let's change the prices a bit, right? So I did all of my solid colors for $10. I did like mixes and stuff, maybe $15. And then I did like the crystals for $20. And that sold well. Like, I made over $800 at the second pop-up shop. You don't necessarily have to, you want to play around with your prices. You don't have to set the price at a certain thing or whatever. But my, the biggest thing that you have to worry about is your customer service, and to know that, like, to step out of your comfort zone. So when you're doing a pop-up shop, it can be a little nerve-wracking, especially if you are an introvert like I am. I don't know if y'all can tell, but I'm a very, like, shy person. Well, I used to be a very shy person. Like, I don't really like to talk to people often. So when I kind of talk to people, I tend to get burnt out from the conversation. You want to work really hard on your customer service. So especially if this is your first pop-up shop, second, third, whatever, you should be paying attention to how you're talking to people. When people come to your stand, you do not want to. I didn't sit down at all during my pop-up shops. Like, I did not have a chair well, they gave you chairs, but I did not have a chair. I didn't use the chairs. I stood up, and I was out, not behind the table. I was in front of the table. I think that it's very important for you to be in front of the table. And I'm going to say this because I observed how other people were running their stands. A lot of the people were sitting down. A lot of people were absent. And then when people would come up, they wouldn't even greet them. You want to make sure that when a person come up to your stand, that you are greeting them. Like, you're like, hey, how you doing? And I'm talking about waist beads in specific. So you know, when somebody come and they look at, I'm like, hey, what color do you like? Or are you familiar with waist beads? Ask them questions, inform them, because a lot of the people that come to the pop-up shops, they probably already either have on have on waist beads, or they probably don't know about waist beads at all, or they had them on previously and they popped them, or they had a bad experience with the other person, or whatever. So you want to make sure that they are feeling like, first of all, waist beads are sacred. Like, if you are if you are able to adorn someone's waist with your waist beads, like, that's a privilege to me, because that's very like that's like a sacred area, right? So you want to make sure that they know that the person who is making these waist beads, or who are providing them these waist beads, know a lot about them, and they care about them, and, you know, just know what they're doing, right? And not just doing it for the money. So, and you can tell it's a big difference. So, like, you can tell when somebody is running a pop-up, when they're doing their stands for money, like, because those are the people that's not greeting you, those are the people that's sitting behind their stand, those are the people that's not informing you about what they're offering. So, or it's not necessarily they don't know what they're doing. They just might be shy and in a shell. You don't want to be in a shell. You want to step out, right? So, like, for instance, so if somebody came up to my stand, I say, hey, how you doing? My name is Ayana. This is my business, Charming Tea Waist Beads, and I get my waist beads from Ghana, so they are authentically made. What color are you interested in? Like, or do you know about waist beads? Now, I'm not running these questions like that. Of course, they're answering, right? So, say they like, oh, well, a lot of people be like, I like blues, or I like nudes, or I like something that's really simple. I'll help them find something that's simple, like, a simple, what's the name? And I don't just be like, oh, well, here's a blue. I say, so you should start off, I always recommend that people start off with at least 3 waist beads. I ask them, what are you tying these waist beads on for? What would they mean to you? A lot of people would say, well, weight loss or weight gain, or I would just want to, I just want the look. Like, so say they say weight loss. I say I would recommend that you start with at least 3 waist beads, because then you can target your areas. As women, we all have about 3 areas on our bodies that we would like to target, which is up here, the midsection, and then the hips. So you want to tell them, you should start in these areas. Just that simple. It's really not hard. It's really not hard, guys. It's not hard at all. I know I say this about a lot of things. It's just all about stepping out of your comfort zone. If you are having a pop-up shop with waist beads, I would recommend that you have, like, I'm gonna show you a picture of my table, how I set mine up. You don't have to go in with everything that I started with. You can literally start a stand. Most of the people who are running pop-up shops, they provide you with 2 chairs and a table. So, of course, you would need a tablecloth. You'll probably need, like, some little nice decorations, just to make everything look nice. You just want something that's going to look nice, appealing, right? But don't think too hard about it. Like, I honestly didn't know what I was doing when I set my table up, and everybody was coming to me like, it looks so nice. Like, you look like you know exactly what you're doing. Or, and then I'm like, oh, this is my first pop-up shop. They're like, really? Like, you really look like you know what you're doing? No. Here, this is another thing I would recommend. So you want to think about the payment. How are you going to be accepting payments? So when my first pop-up shop, I bought the Square card reader, so people could use their debit cards, or Apple Pay, Google Pay, however they were paying. And then of course I had my Cash App on my phone, and I thought that I was set. And then of course I took cash. But when going around to other people's tables, I noticed that they were doing this, and they were putting their Cash App QR code inside of a picture frame. Now, this picture frame, it is broke because it fell off my table because the second pop-up shop was outside and it was windy. I noticed that everybody were putting their QR codes for their Cash App inside of a picture frame, and it definitely was more convenient where a person could just take their phone, scan your QR code, and it automatically pops up with your Cash App. So you don't have to tell them your Cash App name, got to keep repeating it, all that nonsense. This was way easier. So I would recommend that that you do go. I got this printed out from Staples for like 70 cents, 50 cents, something like that. And I went to the dollar store, bought this frame for $1, fitted it in there, and I put it right on my table in the front so that people could, this is the form of payment. Same thing like if you're using like Zelle or anything else, you can get the QR codes and it's fast, way faster, way easier, more convenient. Also, business cards. So to me, I personally don't use business cards only because like people lose business cards and stuff, but if you can get a few of them printed out and sit them on your table, then that would be good, because at the pop-up shops, people do ask for business cards. So I would recommend that you get your business cards printed out, put them on your table, just so people can have access directly to all of your information. But me, what I'm going to try, what I have not ordered yet, and I need to order it, they have this, I'll have to put the name in it, but it's called like pop something. I'll put the name here because I forgot it. But it comes in like a watch. It comes like on the back of your phone. It comes in a couple different forms where people can like tap it, and then tap it with their phone, and all of your information will pop up on your phone. So like your website, your Instagram. So that will be more convenient. So I am going to invest in that myself. But these are just a few tips. Just make sure that you're organized with the prices. I specifically changed my prices to like $10 and $15 or $10 and $20 only because it was more convenient. Like honestly, like I have so many waist beads and so many different styles, and they run from all different prices. So it's hard for me to be at a pop-up shop and be like, oh, well, this is this price. Oh, but this one is that price, but this one is that price. It's better just to be like, well, these ones are set at this price and these ones are set at that price, and that's it. That's way easier. So definitely try to set your prices at one price or two prices. Something that's convenient for you, and convenient for the customer, but in a way that you'll still make profit. Right now, on my table, I had my bracelets. Y'all, these bracelets are amazing. They are wraparound bracelets. They will be available on my site soon. But I have my bracelets and I have my waist beads. I now have the thighlets and I have anklets because a lot of people were asking for anklets. But I have all of these things, and I put out a few different products. I'm going to put out a few different products. But I did only start with bracelets and waist beads, and they both were selling perfectly fine. So you don't have to stress yourself out about what to put on your table, or don't stress about it, I promise. Just go with the flow. Just start. Just do it. It's really simple. But yeah, I feel like the most important thing about doing a pop-up shop is to be present at your table. Always step around your table. You don't want to be behind your table. You'll see a lot of people sit behind your table. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Maybe if they're selling like candles, you can sit behind the table because you can talk to this person. But me personally, if I was selling candles, I would still be around my table, opening up the candle for them. Like, here, smell this. This is my favorite. This and that. Interacting with your customer. You don't want to be behind the table, and it kind of puts a barrier between you and the customer. Even though there's COVID, still practice that. But still, like, you don't want to be behind your table. You don't want to be away from someone was hating on this. So, like I was saying, main thing is just to be present and be bubbly, be happy, smile. Even you have your mask on, still smile. People need to know that you are happy and you love what you do. It may be nerve-wracking, but you have to force yourself to come out of your comfort zone. You have to, and I promise it will be worth it. Like, it's not as nerve-wracking as it seems though. I feel like if I can do it, y'all can do it, because I'm really like that. I'm really not like, I'm an outgoing person to a certain extent, and I know that a lot of y'all, this makes sense to a lot of y'all. I'm a very outgoing person to a certain extent. Like, I get burnt out of conversations really, really fast. My social battery will literally die in the middle of a conversation, and it's kind of embarrassing, but I push past that. Like, I make sure that I'm still engaging and I'm still interacting and whatever. Like, also have them follow you on Instagram, because if you're selling waist beads, if you know waist beads, and once you tie on that 1 strand, 2 strand, 3 strands, you're going to want more. So have them follow you on Instagram, give them your website, make sure they have a way to contact you after the pop-up shop, right? Just so they can see what you offer, like, your new drops or whatever. Excuse me. But you just make sure that you be present. That is the biggest thing, and I speak so much on this because I was observing all the other tables, and a lot of people was not present. Even when they were there, they weren't present, like they were not communicating with people. Even someone came to me and said, oh, I didn't buy from that stand because they didn't even greet me. They didn't even talk to me when I walked up. Like, they didn't even acknowledge that I was there. You want to acknowledge everybody. So I tie people waist beads on it right there, the pop-up shop, of course. So as I'm tying people waist beads on it and someone else walk up like, hey, how you doing? 1 second, I'll be right with you. I'm still acknowledging them. Like, you know, I'm not dismissing them because I have another customer. No, I'm acknowledging everybody. Just think about how you would want to feel if you go to somebody's table. You want them to be interacting with you, right? And then when you're at a pop-up shop, you want to network. That's the biggest thing, is to network. You never know who else is there at that pop-up shop that may be able to help you with your business, or that just may be cool. Like, network with these people. Like, all of these people here are business owners, and it's very important that you have a circle of other business owners. It will push you further in your business because, like, that's your circle. Like, your network is your network. So, I mean, your network is your network. Whatever, however you say it. Makes sense. But, yeah. So, let me see if I can answer the question. Let me see if I can find some questions that was underneath that video that I posted. Alright, so my pop-up shop. Okay, so a lot of people was asking, does my vendor list include ready-made waist beads? And the answer is yes, y'all. My vendors actually made these waist beads for me. As a lot of y'all already know, I actually stopped personally making my own waist beads because the orders started to pick up, and I'm forever grateful for that. But it became, like I told you in the very first video, I cannot supply waist beads for the entire world. So my fingers were getting raw, I was cutting myself, it was just terrible. So it was better for me to just order in bulk waist beads. And I'm so happy that I did that because the profit is beyond amazing. And I'm going to also, after this video, I'm going to record another video telling y'all how y'all can start a waist bead business. A lot of people saying that they're going to be starting their own pop-up shops. Listen, do it. I promise. Like, if I can do it, you can do it. It's really not hard. And I'm starting to book these pop-up shops every weekend, and not on purpose. I'm not even looking at the dates. It's just like, the people who are actually at these pop-up shops actually have their own pop-up shops, and you network with them and you talk with them, or they like how your setup is, they like how you interact with people. They will come to you and they will invite you, or you can go to them and talk to them and they'll tell you, oh, I have another pop-up shop coming up. If they're not doing it on their own, you can say, well, who's having an event? There you go. Now you're in the door for another pop-up shop. Book that one, pay it. The fee's about between $35 to $60. It ranges, but it's completely without all my money back. So it's really not hard. It's really worth it. So this was the comment. She said, this inspires me. I was waiting to get 150 waist beads to do a pop-up shop. How did you pick the location? What would you recommend as a good number to start with? Any takeaways you learned that you can share with others starting? So, like I said, you do not have to start with a specific number of waist beads. 9 times out of 10, depending on which event you are at and how big your name is, if you try to get to 150 waist beads, you most likely won't sell 150 waist beads. Yes, it is possible, but it's not really likely that you're going to sell 150 waist beads at that one event. But you do need inventory. So I would say that you can, let's just say a good number of maybe like 50 waist beads, just so that it could look full, because 50 waist beads is a lot of waist beads, but just so that it could look full. The main thing is about fullness. You know, if you have a little bit of waist beads, like say if I had this right here and only this, it won't look too appealing. But if I had all of these at my pop-up shop, it would look way better because it's fuller. It's just all about the appearance and about how appealing it looks to the customers. A lot of people wanted to buy waist beads specifically off of how my stand was set up and how it looked. So I got a lot of compliments on like, oh my goodness, they look so pretty. They just look so beautiful, this and this and that, right? So the main thing is the fullness. As in picking a location, I pick my location simply by I honestly don't know how I pick my location. I just went on Eventbrite That's how I found my first pop-up shop. I went on Eventbrite and I looked up pop-up shops in my area, and I signed up for one of them. And I'm happy that I did, because now I'm going to be doing her events just about every month. Maybe like, I think she do it like once or twice a month, but I signed up for just about every one that she has. So yeah, it's pretty good, but you do want to watch who you are, you know, who event you are attending. Like every event, it will be different. So if it's a ratchet event, like you can go, I guess, and then do yours, but like, I don't know how the outcome is going to be, or how, you know, but you want to make sure that is, I don't know, like when I chose mine, I looked at which where was she going to be at. I looked at how it looked, or whatever, the event space. It was really nice, so I knew that's where I wanted to be. But when you're just starting, you do just want to start somewhere just to get your name out there. Make sure that you're really talking to people though, so that your name can be out there. So like I said, the takeaways would be just being present, and not being absent from your stand. Like, you know, yeah, you want to shop with other vendors and stuff like that. So if you have an assistant that can come with you, someone who can assist with you with your stand, where they can like stay right there for a second if it's slow, and you could run around and shop with other people. But you're not there to shop, sis. You are there to vend. So definitely, I understand the supporting of other people, because I did support other people and I wanted to, but I couldn't go to every table because I had to be present at my stand. So yeah, the main thing would just be to be present. That's literally the main thing. Thank y'all for everybody who said my hair looks beautiful. Thank you. I definitely see the comments. Didn't have time to respond. But yeah, so that's like the biggest thing, is just to make sure that you're present in your pop-up shop. Like, you don't want to be absent. You don't. And just to know like a little bit of history. A lot of people was asking like, what are waist beads? And I was telling them the history. And the history is simple. Like, you know, they originated in Ghana. Waist beads actually started because back then they didn't have scales for the babies. So they had to tie the beads around their waist just so they can track like weight gain, weight loss, make sure the baby was healthy. And as the baby aged, like the different colors meant different things. Like when they hit their cycle, when they were ready to marry, ready to have kids, or married, or whatever. So yeah, that's basically where it originated from. And then you just tell them like basically about the reason that they can wear waist beads. Waist beads can be worn for weight loss, weight gain. Waist beads can be worn, if you wear a lot of waist beads, they can help shape your waist. Waist beads, well, a lot of people, I always made a joke out of it. A lot of people think it was funny where I said like basically it will cut you off, because if you wear waist beads, you know that you cannot overeat. You cannot. It will choke you. So yeah, I just spoke to them like, you have to know what you're talking about, but don't overthink it. Like, do not overthink it. It's super easy. I keep mine really simple, just like I keep my site now. I don't do elastic. I don't do clasp anymore. I keep everything traditional tie on, so they make everything way easier. If you are a person who do custom orders, maybe you can set up something where you write down their name and write down their, take their information. If you want to take a deposit or a payment up front, that's something that you can do. That's kind of like the idea for if you take custom orders. And custom orders would be like certain colors, elastic, clasp, however you want to do it. But yeah, don't overthink it. Like, I got mine. I'll show y'all everything that I got. I'll put the links down for everything that I ordered, where I ordered it from, who I shopped with, to supply everything from my table. It's really not hard, y'all. It's not hard at all. I thought that I would never be doing pop-up shops, and now I'm ready to actually start my own events, doing pop-up shops and traveling to other places with my waist beads, doing pop-up shops in other cities and states and stuff. So yeah, it's not hard. It's worth it. Yeah, and I definitely had to. So now my thing is, with my pop-up shops, I don't want to sell my waist bead, my crystals, for $20, because these are really expensive to get made. And it was kind of like a loss of profit doing it for $20 each, to be honest. So what I did was I went to my vendors and I got 200 solid colors made, and this is going to last me a couple pop-up shops. But my solid colors, I could just simply go in and be like, they're $10 each. And that's it. You know, just so I can get them a set price. And I also let people know, like, you know, if you go on my site, the prices will be different because I'm giving out a huge discount at my pop-up shops. So, yeah, you could work out deals with people. Let's talk about sizes of your waist beads. You want to make sure that you have multiple sizes. I always recommend that you do at least 50 inches. Only because that you bead your strands up to 50 inches. When I order my waist beads, I get them 50 inches long because you never know the sizes of the people who are going to come to who are going to attend your pop-up shops. You want to make sure that you have a variety of sizes because you don't want to, you know, that's kind of, it would be embarrassing for me if I had waist beads and they didn't fit someone. I would be kind of embarrassed for them and for me because I should have had that. So I would definitely recommend that you do 50 inches. 50 inches fits up to size 3X. So, you know, that kind of fits a lot of the people most people. Make sure that you have your scissors. Make sure you have a container to drop your beads in. And then what I also do is if they have extra left, I'll offer them, like, you want to tie on an anklet or you want to tie it as a bracelet. You know, just let them make sure they know that they can stretch their money. Like, they're not just limited to waist beads. So that was kind of cool. A lot of people was really, really happy when they found out that they bought a waist bead and they also got an anklet or they got a bracelet. They were super excited. So that helped. Also, what I did was at my last pop-up shop, it actually was an Easter event. So what I did was all of the extra beads that I had, like, I cut the ends off. Like, you know, little girls was coming up to my table, of course, looking at waist beads. Their mom probably not gonna let them wear waist beads, but I just told them, I just tied the little extra that I had on as a bracelet for them, and they were like so happy. Like, they were bringing their moms over to the table. It's like, look like she gave me this, and even the moms came and bought waist beads. So just find out a way that you can step out, that you can be different. Yeah, like, it's money to be made, so do not be scared. If you have not started your waist bead business, you need to figure out as to why, and you need to get it started. Get it started. Push past everything and get it started, y'all. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here. I hope that I answered a bunch of questions that y'all had. I hope that I was very informative. Leave some comments down below. Let me know how I did. Don't forget to hit that like button. And subscribe to my YouTube channel if you have not already. Like I said, I am about to drop the how to start your own waist bead business directly after this video. So yeah, it's lit. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.